sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is the Breakfast Bankroll, Sunday, January 9th, 2022, Week 18 of the NFL, the last Sunday before the playoffs start next week. Sounds like we got a three-pack on Saturday. They're calling it Wild Card Weekend. Three-pack on Saturday, a doubleheader on Sunday, and a Monday night game, which I think could be the Patriots at Buffalo. But I'm fired up today for, I don't know why. I got some stuff I need to get off my chest. But before I start, this goes out to my buddy, Craig Medeiros, at Craig Media on Twitter. I had to bring out the Calvin Johnson Megatron jersey. This jersey goes way back to myself and Scott Kelly, as this was one of my shirts I initially wore in NYC at the NFC, where we eventually took down not one but two national titles in fantasy football. But that was the past. This is the present. So without further ado, I am going to the Palm Tree State, where it's warm and it's not about 15, 18, 20 degrees here, and the wind is howling. So let's bring him in. The one, the only, Mr. Scott E. Webb.
Morning, Jeff.
How are you, brother?
Hey, I can't be doing too much better. I mean, well, shit, I could have won some football games yesterday, but other than that, I mean, the weather's good, and you're bringing out the Megatron's jersey. Boy, I miss that guy playing, and he was something else, that guy. But I remember a goal line play with Megatron, and I think they triple teamed him on the goal line. And they still threw him the ball. I've never seen it before. I mean, the guy was just tall. He was fast. He was big. He was strong. He just shed people off. No wonder they call him Megatron. But anyway, that leads us into today's games, right?
Yes, I caught him at Georgia Tech. A team that ran 89% of the times, and they
option plays.
Yes, and then they just threw the ball up a handful of times, and in comes this guy called Calvin Johnson that was just uncoverable. And then right after him, may he rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas. So here's a non-throwing school where it came out with two of the best wide receivers in the game. And Megatron, before Megatron, back in the real glory days, there was a guy from Virginia called Herman Moore. And I had the Scott Mitchell, Herman Moore hookup. I mean, I know Detroit back then it was Barry Sanders, but I'm digging deep here with the Scott Mitchell to Herman Moore. But I need to vent here for a minute, Scotty, because first of all, the NFL played an extra week this year. Okay, so there's an extra game. So all these guys going out with incentive-laden contracts, breaking records. First of all, you played an extra damn game. Okay. So if you want to put an asterisk, you want to do whatever, God bless you. Okay. So now I'm going to bring up two scenarios. Yesterday, the Chiefs wanted to win, needed to win. You don't want to lose two in a row going into the playoffs, and you want to put some pressure on the Titans. So in warm-ups, Tyreek Hill and Hardman are going up for a ball in the end zone, and Tyreek comes down and tweaks his ankle. You would think maybe a red flag to Dallas, Mike McCarthy. Nah. We got to go have Dak go break the record and throw up 5 touchdowns and a 50-burger. So the question I ask you, okay, they couldn't do it last week when it really meant something against Arizona. So let's go beat up on Philly, who's not playing anyone in the secondary and on defense. Put up a 50-burger. So if today's headline read, Dak out for playoffs, the first head on the chopping block is Mike McCarthy. Thoughts on what happened yesterday?
Well, I gave out 2 unders, so I really look stupid. So that doesn't look good. I mean, shit, the one game was over at halftime. So I still go by what I thought. I still go by the idea that I knew that Gardner Minshew was going to play yesterday, and I knew the the Eagles weren't going to. I've been doing some baseball work, Jeff, so I'm sorry. And anyway, I knew that the Eagles weren't going to play their players. So the question that I had in my mind was, do I play this game under or do I play the Dallas Cowboys? Because I just thought the Dallas Cowboys were going to steamroll this team. And if you remember when we were talking yesterday, I'm conflicted, as conflicted can be on this Philadelphia Eagles team, because coming down the stretch, I was all on them. I wanted to be on them every week. I was on, and then now all of a sudden the secret's out, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh shit, they ain't beat nobody. And again, they played somebody tough yesterday, and I get it, they played their second team and all that stuff, but they got shelled. So I'm not sold on the Eagles. I'm not. They're a data monster. When you start breaking this stuff down and looking at their numbers and stuff, holy shit, they're just like why couldn't they have won 16 games? Anyway, it doesn't surprise me because I don't know if you've heard the latest. Green Bay is playing all their starters, and they're going to play. And when I started looking at this stuff, I'm like, holy shit, look at that line. It's the 3 and 3.5. I'm going to play the first half of this game, and I'm going to play it right now because that game's going to change, and people are going to find out Aaron Rodgers is playing, and he's got an incentive-laden contract, and holy shit, he's going to go out there, and in the first half, they're going to score 25 points, and then they're going to take him out, and nobody's going to care. So anyway, I think that's how you got to look at these games is if you can find the information, then you can get a little bit of a head start on what's happening to the degree. You got to play them like they're preseason games. So the Browns and the Bengals, neither one are playing their starters, or they're resting as many starters as they can. Baker Mayfield's not playing today. Joe Burrow's not playing today. Mixon's not playing today. And if you look at the weather report on that game, that it is 38 degrees and 17-mile-an-hour winds with backup quarterbacks and backup players. So, we just said, or you just said at the beginning, this is an extra week in the NFL. But to be honest with you, it's an extra week in the NFL for certain teams. The rest of them are using this as like the fourth preseason game. I don't know what to tell you. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be suck-ass games for some, and then some of these games really matter. You get down to the end where you got San Francisco and the Rams playing, the Chargers and the Raiders playing. I think that Seattle and Arizona game is going to be played out pretty good. So some of these games matter, and the rest of them don't mean shit.
Yeah, and again, I just vented because it's comical where every time Dallas loses or makes a bonehead play, we blame McCarthy. I do remember last year, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Dak out for the season with a blown-up ankle or something?
Yeah, but he busted up his knee or something, or his ankle or something. But it was early. He did that early.
Exactly, and he didn't play the rest of the season, correct?
You're right, and then their defense sucked ass, so that they brought in another guy, and now that they're doing pretty well. So,
and so here's another a cherry on top on why Dallas did what they did. Cincinnati knew Dallas knows Cincinnati's not playing Burrow. So in their mind, it was a statement where they could get Dak, the comeback player of the year, over Burrow, because those two were running neck and neck. And unfortunately, they were going to give it to Dak in Dallas anyways. Listen, Joe had a nice little stretch run here. I love Joe to death, but there was no way in hell they were giving it to Joe over Dak. But the point of the matter is this is most likely you're going to be at home and play in Arizona next week. And you didn't do well the week before. So I don't understand the thought part. Listen, you want to play Dak the first quarter, even the first half. You want to give him the first series in the second half. I get all, like the last preseason game. I get all that, but just to keep them in there to throw the 5 touchdowns to get the 50 burger, they're the hottest team since, whoever coming in the playoffs, bow down and kiss the rings here. It's not 1980 or 1990. I know Roger Staubach ain't walking through that door. I know Troy Aikman ain't walking through that door. Tony Romo, Danny White, whoever. It made no sense to me, third and fourth quarter, to have him out there. None.
No, I agree with that. I mean, we'll see how today goes with some of the decisions that are made. Um, I sat there for a long time and I kept thinking, the Green Bay Packers aren't going to play anybody against the Lions. What the hell? And then I started looking at it, and if they don't play them this week, they got to bye next week. It'll be 3 weeks basically of no football. So I get and understand at least why they're going to play their starters. Now that it doesn't say they're going to, it doesn't say they're going to play them the entire game, and I expect them not to play the entire game, but I would expect them to play at least the first half. And I kind of look at that game as sort of an oddball type situation here where they got nothing to play for, but that's not true. I got this link here pulled up, so whenever you want to talk about it, we can. Where I've got a whole handful of players today that have all these incentives, and I got it right in front of me. So we can talk about that whenever you want. And then, I got the weather forecasts pulled up here, and there's some games out there, man. And I get it. I live in Florida. You're going to see on TV today, if you watch, if you got DirecTV or whatever you watch the Red Zone channel on, the Bucks game today, 82 degrees, partly cloudy, 7-mile-an-hour winds. Wouldn't you like to be at the beach today? 82 degrees, just hang out, holy shit. And that's the lifestyle down here, other than, when I lived on the other coast, when I lived in West Palm Beach, I liked that lifestyle better than the one here in Tampa. But that being said, it's still nice. It's still nice to be in 82-degree weather, no matter what you say.
All right. So people are here watching and listening. And if you haven't ran over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors, please do. Subscribe. It's free. Tell a friend. If you're not following myself at EC Sports Invest on Twitter or Scott at Webby20MLB on Twitter, please do as well. I look when I get up in the morning, or should I say when I stay awake till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, I look at some movements just to see if anything catches our eyes, any corrections, any duffel bags, overnight moves that I need to see so I can report to everyone out here watching and listening. Again, the Green Bay, the opening line, of course, was 11 when everyone was playing, when it meant something. Green Bay is wrapped up the number 1 seed, has the week off next weekend. I do remember some scenarios with the Patriots that did have the same scenario, and there was a year that they limped in and it caught up to them, and it is tough. The thing with Green Bay is, that extra week's going to help them get even healthier. And I said on our show all week, I think it's Packers by default to win the NFC. Currently, you can get them at plus 350 right now to win the Super Bowl. So if you think they're going to get to the Super Bowl, I would suggest anyone here jumping on your book. You might get 375 or 400. You get them to the Super Bowl, you got an automatic hedge. If they play Kansas City, I think Green Bay might be a small underdog. If they play Tennessee or Buffalo, I think Green Bay will be a small favorite there. But that line is currently at 3.5 at our friends at Circa, and down to 3.
So look at the first half line.
Let's go to the first half line. $3.5.
They're minus 3.5 for the first half and minus 3 for the full game.
That was very nice of them, huh? I love those things, and so a lot of people don't dig deep enough, to see that. Unfortunately, there. But that was that game that you are talking about. I'll quickly just run down. Let me get the full games up for everyone here. The 1 o'clocks, the 4 o'clocks, really where I think the meat and potatoes are. In Chicago, Minnesota, Zimmer's last game. That's what we're hearing there. And obviously Nagy's last game there. Pats in Miami. Pats do need the win, put a little pressure on Buffalo, which we know will win, is right now at a flat 6. They've always had trouble in Miami, in South Beach at the end of the year. So that'll be interesting there. Jacksonville, Indy at 14. The Bills are currently at 16 and a hook. You talked about Carolina, Tampa. The actual look ahead line was 16 and a hook. It's down to 9.5. Tennessee, Houston. Again, Tennessee needs the win to secure the number one spot. Oh, Henry did not get activated. And they are currently at 11 or 10.5. Washington Giants at 1 o'clock. Washington at 6.5/7. Kind of curious. Will Joe Judge be back? Will the GM be back? Will Daniel Jones be back there? But those are the one. Actually, I'm sorry. Pittsburgh, Baltimore down to 3. Big Ben's official last game, and Huntley starting for Baltimore. Cincinnati, Cleveland, you already touched upon it. Cleveland was a 1.5-point favorite to start there. Now 6, a battle of backups. Anything pique your interest there, sir?
Well, a couple of things. One, I told you I'm already on the Green Bay first half -3.5. So I like that number. I like that game. And I like it because Aaron Rodgers has some incentives he's going to try to hit in that game too. But I'm not sure. I don't know if Goff is playing. He's had a little bit better second half than he did first half, and it doesn't really matter to me that he does or doesn't play. Because if they're matched up in the first half, I still think that Green Bay is at least ahead by a touchdown at halftime. Bakhtiari is playing today for Green Bay. This is his season debut for the left tackle. So I think they're wanting to get a test out of the players. So I get the feel that they're going to put the throttle down in the first half and then just totally go, okay, here's the clipboard. Let me find somebody to go play. And then they're going to put in everybody else in the second half. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on how that game is going to go. And I don't think the Lions have the firepower to hang with them when they're really wanting to play. So anyway, the other game that you mentioned that I had an interest in, and I can't figure out for sure, this Washington and the Giants game. I've been watching it. And now the number has changed to 6.5. It's been 7. It's been 7. It's been 7. It's been 7 all night. You talked about, you were up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Hell, I should have talked to you. You don't know what I was. If you go to our Discord channel, Jeff, you'll know what I was doing at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was putting in, and you won't believe this, I was putting in how people can put on their Google Calendar baseball games for their favorite team. That's what I was doing. I put it in there, and I was showing them exactly how to go in and put it in there because I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I'm like, holy shit, I can put this on my thing. I don't even have to look. It's right there on my Google Calendar now, every single baseball game. So I was like, oh, this is great. So anyway, that was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. That's what I was doing. So anyway, this game, I've been watching this. It's been 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7 or -7. And I'm like, oh my God. And now it's -6.5. And I sit here and I go, why would it go to -6.5 now, other than the book wants the money to come in on the Redskins, the Washington football team. So I'm like, I'm staying away. I am not going there. I am not doing any of that stuff. I am just going to be in one of these spots where I am not playing the Washington football team. Now, here's an interesting one for you. Let me get this thing down. He's clear at the bottom of this list. So Tyler Heineke, right? He's made $125 million for every win in which he's played at least 60% of the snaps. If he does it again, that's another 125,000. So if he wins today, it's worth $125,000 to him, which happens to be at the total $875,000 he's won in terms of incentive money, and his contract's $1 million. So he's almost doubled his contract just by winning these games. So I think there's a pretty good incentive for him to go out and win this game today. Anyway, that being said, I like them at -6.5 because the Giants, I don't even know what they are anymore. But anyway, I'm not going to go there just because neither team really has any real reason to win these games, and there might be some draft type scenarios here where the Giants don't want to fall out of a spot, or the Redskins, gosh, the Washington football team. Well, I wish they'd change their name real fast so I could get that right. So anyway, they get to a point where that's that. So I don't really like the 1 o'clock games at all. I kind of stayed away from most of them, other than I played that Green Bay game.
And I already gave a New England Miami preview, which is at 4:25. Carolina Tampa, I already talked about. Seattle Arizona, again, I think you said the same thing. Is it Pete Carroll's last game? Is it Russell Wilson's last game in Seattle? I'm showing 55% of the bets, 64% of the money coming in on Arizona. That opening line was not 5 either. That was a 6.5. Let me just go over to Don Best for a second. Yeah, there was a 6.5 opening line. The computer model was 5 though. So some reverse line movement coming in on Seattle. We know Arizona's strength this year has been on the road, not at home, even though they've gotten better at home, but they've been a winning machine on the road and have struggled at home. All right. So my preseason pick to win the NFC, the 49ers. A team that I thought had a great chance, not just to win the NFC West, to win the NFC, but to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, we know their struggles. Obviously, we know that when needed, Jimmy G is always hurt. With that said, Jimmy G is now going to try to muscle it and get the start. Trey will be ready, though. Here's the funny on this game. 49ers have beaten the Rams the last 5 times. Okay? Win and you're in. This line opened at 6.5, all the way down to 3.5. 62% of the bets, 57% of the money, all coming in on the Niners. Listen, I'm all in on the Niners. I have, but I will just tell you this. This is your 1A public trendy dog today, and I'll give you your the other game that kind of initially you would think would be the public trendy dog part 2 would be the 8 o'clock game, 8:20 game. Win and you're in. Chargers in Vegas opened at 2.5, now a flat 3. 62% of the bets, 71% of the money, all coming in on the Chargers. I'm seeing some overnight and this morning some move on Vegas here. I had already talked via email to about 25,000 ECSI followers to grab Vegas plus the 3.5. Sprinkle a little pizza and beer money on them. I think if they lose, it's going to be a close game, come down to a field goal game. It's absolutely a coin flip in my mind on this game. But those are the late games, Scotty. Anything catching your eye there?
Yeah, well, I tried to figure out this San Francisco and Los Angeles Rams game because those are 2 good defenses, and in theory can be 2 really good offenses, but they're just sputtering a lot of times. So I kind of got to an understanding here that this might be one of those close games, and it's a battle type game, and I'm not sure which head coach here is the one to bet on, but I'm going to bet on the 49er head coach for 2 reasons. One, he does get his quarterback back, and I'm assuming, and I'm going to make this strong word, assuming here, that because he's going to play, he must be healthy enough to play. They wouldn't put his ass out there if he couldn't throw the football. So I'm going to assume he can play. Now, if he can play over, and I got the numbers here in front of me. So from week 10 on, he is the number 3 quarterback in football on EPA plus CPOE. Now, CPOE is completion percentage over expected. So those are 2 good numbers to be good at. You're good at getting extra value per play, and then you're also good at completion percentage more than what is expected. That means you're doing pretty well. And he's the 3rd best quarterback. In fact, the number 1 quarterback on that list is Joe Burrow since week 10. And then Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo, then Patrick Mahomes, and then Matt Jones. So anyway, I found it kind of interesting to see who was in that top 5 there. So anyway, looking at it from that perspective, I have to go with the 49ers and take the points. And I get it. It's a trendy dog, and I don't like to be on that side. But at the same time as that, I think it's the right play. So I played that game. And that Seattle and Arizona game, I don't understand the line move. So maybe you can help me understand this. So the total is 48 now.
Mm-hmm.
And what I originally saw, I don't believe was 46 and a half. I think it was more like 46, 45 and a half, something like that. So I think that number's gone up quite a bit. And I think that even somewhere else right now, it's 48 and a half. People are betting that game like they're going to score shit tons of points in that Seattle and Arizona game. So I played that game under, and of course I played 2 unders yesterday and got my butt handed to me. But this is what I'm looking at in that game. So number one, Seattle in their last 12 games that they've played, and I don't think people really realize how good their defense has been. They are 9-2-1 to the under, and they are 6-1 to the under on the road this year. That team has played some defense. And then in the last 5 meetings against Arizona, they've been defensive battles except for in one game. So earlier this year, the game was 23-13. And then and Arizona won that game. And then last year, it was Arizona 21-28. And then Seattle, this is the game that they blew them out, was 34-37. And then in 2019, it was 27-13, 27-10. All those games are under the 48-49 type number. So these are tight games. And when you start to look at kind of where the games lie, in the last 2 meetings, Arizona's ran the ball for 95 yards this year. In the last game of last year, they played them. They only ran the ball for 57 yards. If Arizona can't run the football against this team, then they're going to have a hard time trying to stay there and get these points. So I like the idea that that's going to happen. And in the last 5 games that Seattle's played, their defense gave up. Well, this is that weird game. That was the 51-29 game against the Lions. But they gave up 25 against Chicago, 20 to the Rams, 13 and 23. That's not enough to get to a point where you're going over 48 points. And I don't see. And Arizona's been struggling on offense. Last week they scored 25 against Dallas. They scored 16 against the Colts. They only scored 12 against Detroit. They scored 23 against the Rams, and they kind of capped it off there with a 33 against the Bears. So I don't understand the over. So maybe you can help me get that, although I already played it under.
No, that's the, when you're looking at actual scenarios on teams needing to win, teams needing to play, I think this is the perfect storm where we talked about in the beginning of the show. It looks like Arizona's traveling to Dallas. That's all. A rematch where Kyler Murray now is 6-0 in Jerry's world, counting high school, college, and now in the NFL. It's a game that kind of looks a little sexy on the dog. Again, 55% of the bets, 64% of the money, all coming in on Arizona. The line opened at 6.5, so there's some sharp, heavier money coming in on Seattle. There's some great reverse line movement on Seattle. And I think when you look at this game, what comes to mind to start? It's Kyler and Russ. And so when in doubt, the public, when it comes to totals, takes the over, because you don't want to be sitting in your chair like this and root for Kyler to throw a pick, Seattle to score a field goal, and you want points, and more points. So again, the whole world's on that over. The computer model has it at 46.5. And I'm showing right here 75% of the bets and 94% of the money all flocking in on the over. And I'm assuming the wind won't be blowing 19, 20 miles an hour. I'm assuming it won't be 10 degrees. I'm assuming it's going to be bright, clear, sunny skies in the desert.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. You got to remember that they play in a dome. So unless they turn the damn fans on somehow and really start blowing some go rent some stuff or get a jet engine thing in there, holy crap. But that's what I'm thinking. So I played that game under my number that I got was 48. And then and I did play the Raiders, and it scares the shit out of me to play the Raiders tonight. But you and I think have talked about this. I don't remember when we started talking about it, but when you bet on the Chargers, you don't like to bet on the Chargers at home. I don't like to bet on the Chargers when they're the favorite. I love to bet on the Chargers when they're the underdog, but I don't like to bet on them when they're the favorite. And they are the favorite tonight. So I get it that they're on the road. But what bothers me about this game is that the matchup actually favors the Chargers because the Raiders defense doesn't match up to what the Chargers can do. But that being said, there's some about that damn Charger team, Jeff, and it's every year. Doesn't matter who the head coach is. It doesn't matter what's going on or who the quarterback is, unless they bring Dan Fouts back or something. It's one of those things where that team just can't win the game they need to win to get to where they need to go. And it seems to me like the Raiders are on a big high momentum push right now. And they've been playing playoff game after playoff game, it seems like. And I think they're pretty prepared for this game, to be honest. And I think that I kind of like them being a home dog in this game against the divisional opponent that they see twice a year. And I don't. It's not the Chiefs, so it's not one of those teams that beat up the Raiders so bad that they can't play. So I think they have a good chance here in that game. So I played. Those were my plays. I played 4 plays today. I played Seattle, Arizona under 48. The San Francisco 49ers plus 3.5. The Raiders plus 3. And I played the Green Bay Packers first half minus 3.5. That's what I played.
Talking about those old Chargers, Dan Fouts, Chuck Muncie, Charlie Joyner, and we'll throw in Kellen Winslow. How's that? We'll bring them all back. It's a very intriguing game, and hats off to Las Vegas as they get the winner of the late night sweepstakes. Winning, you're in. The city will be buzzing. And you're right. They were left for dead 3 weeks ago, and they've won the last 3. 2 to be expected, but no one had them going into Indy and beating Indy last week. And they have probably listen. I'm a Tucker fan. I love him at the Ravens. He's my probably my all-time favorite. But this kid Carlson is nails for Vegas. So if you get in a close game, they have a big weapon there, and he's had a few game winners. I think it was opening night or second week against the Ravens on primetime game. He knocked one in for the win, and 50, 52, 53, 55, whatever it is, this kid is nails there. Aboard again, as I've said all along, always NFL equals any given Sunday. Now you add COVID. Now you add week 18. A lot of people not playing. And then you're trying to checkers and chess here. You're on the side that says Green Bay is playing everyone the first half. They're going to get in. They're going to get out. And I'm looking at a line that's stuck on 3.5 with a 44.5. I mean, listen, common math says Vegas says that the Packers win 24-21. I mean, that's just basic math there. And there's a handful of games again where I think, listen, I'm rooting the crap out of the 49ers. I just think that, the fact that Jimmy G is starting, I think the whole world now is jumping in on them. And the Rams technically have, they want to hold on to their 2 seed because they don't want to have to travel to Lambeau until the championship game, if possible, there. But it's a loaded board, and it's something where I want to get everyone, first of all, thanks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting myself and Scott. Thanks for supporting East Coast Sports Investors and the Breakfast Bankroll. As we have said since day one, we're here to educate. with a little entertainment. The true entertainment you can go follow on ESPN, Fox, and social media and all those other guys. But next weekend, wild card weekend, Scott, we'll have 3 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday. So those games will matter. Those games, we will get the opening lines probably as early as late tonight when Scott's working on the Discord channel and I'm up eating Ben and Jerry's probably, to cure a sugar fix or something. Anyways, closing thoughts, Scott.
I think that people should be paying a little attention for us on our network here because I think we're going to have some time to do the closing bell this week, and I think we're going to see some nighttime shows, which will do 2 things. One, we'll get into some, on my side, I'll get into some NBA stuff, but it'll also be important as we go into those football games because ideally, if we're going to do a couple of shows, we might do something or say something on an early show that gets reclarified or gets even further defined on an afternoon show. So, that's the whole idea of what we're trying to do here is give you guys multiple different levels and points of different contentions. I don't know if we'll get into any in-game action or not, but we can get into all kinds of different things, which is part of what we're trying to do here. And then number 2, the only thing I really want to say is to everyone who watches us, and we get anywhere from 40 views to 250, 300, 400, whatever it is views. Guys, I really appreciate the views, but it really doesn't matter if you view us if you don't go click the subscribe button. And I need you to go start doing things for us as opposed to just clicking on and saying, oh, well, let's see what these guys have to say. We give out these plays, or I give out the plays all the time, trying to help everybody. And I'm not always right, but I win a lot. And the idea, though, is I need you guys to come on and help us now. So we need a subscription service to get up to. Let's start with 1,000. We need 1,000 people in our YouTube platforms and then on Twitch. And then once you get 1,000, we need to get to 10,000. And I know that sounds like a lot. But if I've got down this rabbit hole, and I don't know if I said it on here before, but I watch these people do these videos where they watch these guys sing, and they've never, they get first time reactions to these people sing, and I watch those, and my favorite one is Disturbed when they try to watch that guy sing the song that Simon and Garfunkel did, and they watch him sing that. And then all of a sudden, that song has 770 million views. Not from these guys, but these guys have thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands subscribers to watch these people sit there with headphones on and bob their head. Okay, so all I'm asking for is for us to get to 1,000. Go subscribe; it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Just subscribe. And it helps us. It helps the algorithms that go along with all the stuff and everything like that. So that's the idea. So we're trying to provide great product. If you don't like what we're doing, mention something in the comments. Let us know what you want us to do because we're wide open for a lot of stuff. And once the advertisers come, we might not be able to be as such wide open. They might want us to do certain things. But the point of this whole thing is we need people to follow us. And you don't have to sit here and watch us every minute of every day. Just subscribe and hit the notification bell. The notification bell is part of the algorithm, guys. It doesn't mean that you have to go click it on. And if it alerts to you, just ignore it if you don't want to watch it. But if you do want to watch it, hey, thumbs up. Give us some entertainment notes and give us some different other stuff and go from there. But I'm not on a rant. I just want you guys to understand we're doing these things. We need you to help us. And then we need you to be communicative so that we can see both sides. We got this Discord channel. We want everybody to get in there. But there's a cost to getting in there. So as all of that stuff happens and all those things develop and all those things grow, just keep working the free stuff until you're really comfortable with this to get into the paid stuff. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
And as Scott said, that the idea, the concept of the breakfast bankroll is 3-pronged. Okay. the breakfast bankroll most of the days is for us to talk about the overnight movement, the opening line to the overnight movements to what we're seeing bright and early in the morning. Okay. And then our goal is to get to the midday market report. So whether you're at work, whether you're just getting up on the West Coast, whether you're having lunch, you're at the bagel line, you're at Chick-fil-A drive-through, wherever you are, is to give you around lunchtime sometime what has gone on since the breakfast bankroll to where the numbers have shifted. And we'll highlight 2, 3, 4 games, or we'll say, hey, it's kind of dead and slow right now, but this is what we're eyeing. And then the closing bell. You're coming home from work. You haven't had time to look at the board. You haven't had time to listen to the breakfast bankroll. You haven't had time to listen to the midday market report. But guess what? You got time to listen to the closing bell. That's when we take the opening line to the overnight line to the midday market report to, hey, it's getting close to showtime. These are what we've seen all day. These are the sharpest moves. This is where the public is. This is where the sharp guys are. This is the contrarian. Here's where the steam is. Here's where the false steam is. And we're hoping to do a 30 to 45-minute closing bell to get you ready, to get you to the window. And then it's just as everyone says it, it's what? Rinse, repeat, whatever that stupid saying is. But that's the goal. It's a 3-pronged goal. Okay. We've been doing the breakfast bankroll long enough now. Scott's schedule now is for this week where we can dive into the closing bell. But as we really get up and running and rolling, God willing, we will be a 3-pronged attack, giving you the breakfast bankroll, the midday market report, and the closing bell. That's the goal, and that's where we will eventually be in 2022. Takes time, progress, not perfection. Keep the feet moving, and always, stay positive and test negative. So with that said, everyone, best of luck today. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can find me at EC Sports Invest. You can find Scott at Webby20MLB. Send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. Go over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. And if you got an extra second, go over to Twitch as well and at East Coast Sports Investors and do the same. Always remember this: when wagering and investing, always use your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number there. Ask for help. Why? Because we care. We want you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and the rest of 2022 and beyond. For myself, Jeff Dawson, and Scott Webb, best of luck. Always wager and invest responsibly, and we will see you next week.